All right. So, this is a West Virginia Knob Creek pick. This is a 14 and a half year pick, which they don't do anymore. The distillery, isn't it Beam kind of limits it now?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's pretty much like the most you're going to find is maybe a 10 year.
Yeah.
Just because of demand, there just isn't enough 15-year barrels that people want.
Yeah, a lot of the older stuff is probably going to be more allocated towards the Baker's exclusive selects, and then the
and obviously in like stuff like Little Book and in like Knob 15.
Knob Creek 15, yeah.
And even the Knob 12.
And they did outsource some of it because I think Bardstown Discovery 4 had a good bit of 15-year Knob Creek in it.
Mm-hmm. They realized that they were losing out on using them in the picks that were $60, versus using them in all their experiments.
Mm-hmm. If you do happen to see the Bardstown Disco 4, whenever you go back to Delaware or go through Maryland or...
I usually only see the fusions, but I'm going to try, depending on timing, to make a point to stop at Barrel Nation.
Okay.
In Hagerstown, because I've heard... I mean, they just dropped a Hazmat Elijah Craig
private I saw
pick.
That.
And I know some people from Harrisburg who straight up went down for that.
Yeah, I believe
that's also like an hour drive, so that's not too bad. But anyway...
Yeah, if you see Disco 4, let me know, because I will spend an absurd amount of money on a Disco 4.
Just to get one?
Yes.
Okay. Noted.
But,
anyway, let's get into this Knob Creek Backroads Blend is what it's called.
Yes.
I don't know what store it's from. I would assume, considering it came from Drew, that it was the other store he had me go to, which is called... BJ's? It's not BJ's.
Maybe, I don't know.
Let me actually double check as we...
Because I thought he got this one through a trade.
I don't know that he did, because he goes to West Virginia for stuff a lot.
That's true.
Let me ask him, or let me check. But anyway... Ooh. It's called BFs.
Okay.
Because they had other blends that were kind of like similar named. That's why I think it might be from there.
Right.
Could be from elsewhere. But anyway.
Bourbony. A little bit of candy sweetness, like rock candy sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Brown sugar.
It smells like, I forget what flavor they were, but the pink rock candy.
Pink rock candy. Wasn't that bubblegum rock candy?
Maybe. I remember it didn't taste necessarily like what the name said it was supposed to be. But it was like, it was one of those ones where it was good.
Yes.
But it's like when you get a flavored whiskey or something where it's like, oh yeah, that's reminiscent. It was reminiscent of like a bubblegum flavor, but it wasn't bubblegum.
Okay.
That's kind of what I get from this.
I could see that.
It's a bit more of like a candied fruit. Like, hang on.
Because this isn't...
I don't know if you're going to know what these are. My old roommate, if he actually watches this, because sometimes he does, will know exactly what I'm talking about. Around Passover, they're Jewish candy fruit slices.
Mm.
They're literally like little semicircles, completely fucking covered in sugar and flavored in a couple different fruit flavors. This is reminiscent of like one of those kinds of flavored.
I might be thinking of the same thing you are. I think I might know what you're talking about.
All I know is at one point, Sam actually took a bunch of those, put it in a bowl, and filled it with vodka, and let them soak for like 2 days.
Oh, of course.
And they were boozy as fuck. Also, those little fruit slices, the sugar dissolved, but it absorbed like half the alcohol amongst those fruit slices. So like you were biting into a shot.
Oh, beautiful.
And the vodka had an interesting fruity sweetness to it.
Right.
But anyway, this reminds me of actually that fruity sweetness that vodka had, but I can't place that, nor will that mean anything to anybody. But that's kind of the nose I get.
It has some brown sugar, some like wood and leather.
Which is not unsurprising out of a 14 plus year Knob Creek.
What I will say though, is that the...
I almost get a meaty note.
Mm-hmm. I get that too. I will say this though, like the Knob Creek 25th anniversary, this is about the same age, but like it still doesn't smell up to the same quality of that 25 year. That 25 anniversary was like so much richer and fuller and like.
And that shows that not only was it an aging and selecting quality barrels thing, that was a master blender being a master blender.
Yes. He knew exactly what he was looking for, and he picked the perfect.
You're talking Beam family, so of course they knew exactly what they were doing, especially for such a special release.
And the reason why I have to say that is because people were trying to be like, oh, this can't be worth $130. You can get the store pick barrel proof for $60. But
so different.
In my opinion, the fact that it was uncut and unfiltered, and the flavors on it were so superb that
and it wasn't proofed down at all either.
That's what, uncut, unfiltered.
Oh yeah, you said that.
Yeah.
I only heard the unfiltered part.
Yeah. But like that was so superb that like I would still spend another $130 on it. I still think that was a beautiful bottle.
And if I have time, I'll stop at the store that had it and see if they're still sitting on any.
Right.
But anyway, the meaty note I'm getting isn't necessarily like actually like meat. It's almost like a dry rub.
I could see that.
Not a barbecue dry rub, but like almost a
teriyaki.
Kinda, yeah, actually. It's not.
There's a lot going on.
It's not necessarily teriyaki. Like I couldn't place what kind of dry rub it is.
Yeah.
It tastes like, it smells like it's some restaurant's in-house dry rub they put on something that's like their own unique flavor. And blend of spices.
Yeah, this smells like a savory and not in a desserty way kind of whiskey. It doesn't smell very sweet like a typical Knob Creek does.
No, it does not.
This
it just
smells
has that little
savory.
bit of a candy note to it.
Yep.
But let's see how it tastes. Because this is the longest I think we've discussed something before tasting it. We're almost 7 minutes in.
That's complex.
Whoa. Has some heat.
It does, but like not an unbearable amount.
No, it's actually like very nice.
Like this is the heat that you would expect off of 120. There's a lot of other bottles that
it has heat on the front end. I don't get a lot on the back end.
Yeah, which is weird.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of bottles.
Not a Kentucky Hug, but it has heat.
Yeah.
It gives you a little punch.
Mm-hmm. And there's not a lot of whiskeys where you're like, that tastes like the proof. You're either like, this drink's hot for the proof, or this drink's light for the proof.
This drink's right at it.
This drink's right at 120. Like, this would be the definition of 120 proof heat. But
dry.
It is rather dry. The sweet notes that you get are mostly brown sugar.
I get a lot of like
sweet oak.
Mm-hmm. And then you get a lot of oak spice.
A lot of oak spice.
Leather.
Definitely leather. I get tobacco. I get another sweet note I'm getting is like kind of a laid back candy note, like plain rock candy almost, but dialed back a little bit. Because it is a little sweet. It's not incredibly sweet. It's very balanced.
It does have a sweetness to it. But I mean, the dry notes stand out for sure.
Yeah.
For everything, there's a sweetness to it, but the sweetness is almost like a backbone over.
Yeah.
Everything you're getting.
It balances it, but like not in favor of sweetness. It balances it so that it's not too dry.
Right. Yeah, it mutes the dryness rather than dryness muting the sweetness.
And this is really good. It's complex as fuck.
It is.
Like, you gotta remember that these picks are $60 picks.
Right.
This is a $60 whiskey.
Easily.
And holy fuck, is it worth that money?
Now, comparing to the Final One Spirits one, the 15-year one, I'd pick that one to my flavor profile.
Oh, for sure.
But, again, this is one of those ones where I absolutely would not hesitate, and I'm not a huge Knob Creek fanboy.
Right.
I have my ones I like. I like the higher age stuff, and I like the higher age picks. But other than that, I don't go, like, I have standard Knob Creek and Knob Creek Rye, but those are just like...
Yeah. Honestly, Knob
I've
Creek...
gone through my fair share of bottles of Knob Creek 9, drinking straight from the bottle some days when I was in school still.
Yeah.
Especially my one semester, my 5th year. I went through a lot of Knob Creek. I think I went through 3 bottles. That was before I was into bourbon. But
I still think it is the best mainline whiskey.
I don't agree, but it's one of those ones where that's an argument that I respect and makes sense.
Yeah.
it's one of the ones where, for me, Maker's Mark is what now 9-year is for you.
Right.
It's
Funny
just
how
one of
that
those
used to be larceny.
It used to be, but also larceny, like regular larceny, was good, and it's still not bad to me. It just, in comparison to so much other stuff.
You've had so much at this point that it just can't compare anymore.
Right, now larceny barrel proofs, clearly it doesn't tickle yours or Ryan's fancy, but it definitely does mine. Considering I've now tried them all, and I would buy a bottle of all of them after trying them.
Honestly, the way that I feel about larceny makes me realize that, like, I would be able to win or buy a bottle of Old Fitzgerald bottled in bond
and trade it and not feel bad.
Yep, I wouldn't worry about it at all.
Yep.
Because
that's where I'm at too, because I haven't been a fan of the Old Fitz I've tried.
Oh, really?
I've tried the 8-year.
Interesting. I figured you would be, because that's like the higher end version of larceny.
I wasn't. Let me rephrase that. I wasn't a fan for the money.
Oh, okay.
And for what I can get for it.
Right.
Now, if I could get the bottle and it wasn't worth a trade value, I'd keep it, and I would have no issue with that.
Right.
But it did knock my socks off.
Mm-hmm.
I thought larceny barrel proofs were a better value, and they varied more.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, like, especially some of those other ones, you get up there in age, and getting up there in age is a gamble with whiskey.
It is. I think that Knob Creek pulls it off the best.
Agreed.
And also, that last sip I took, I got a ton of chocolate fudge on the front.
I can see it. I almost get, not quite chocolate fudge, but almost like a chocolate milkshake note.
I could see
like
that.
A chocolate milkshake that like has crumbled chocolate in it.
Yep.
You know, those like triple chocolate ones.
Yep.
Or like, bad comparison, although a lot of fatzos like me would get this. The lava crunch cakes at Domino's.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's reminiscent of that kind of chocolate fudge. It's not like a brownie kind of chocolate or a cake kind of chocolate. It's like it's rich, has a little bit of a bitterness to it, and has layers to it.
Yep. I wish I had a bottle of this, because this is getting more and more complex the more I sip it, and like I want more of it to pick it apart. I'm actually sad that that's gone, because I'm really enjoying it.
Talk Drew.
I'm gonna have to. Although he's getting like 8 samples from me in a couple weeks.
You'd have to figure out what he'd be willing to part with it for.
I doubt he would. He's like me. Like he and I got along so well because our flavor profile lined up so much.
I was gonna say we get along well, but that's again, one, we chat with a fuck ton.
Yeah. And
2, we do line up on the Maker's Mark a lot, and Lux Row,
I
because he's big into Lux Row as well.
I gotta reach out and talk to him more. I haven't been like interacting with a whole lot of people on.
I was gonna say I randomly chat with people a bunch.
Yeah.
So
I haven't been lately because I've just been so fucking busy.
Working at a liquor store kind of helps with that.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Like just pointing people like, hey, we got this in or we got that in.
It hasn't even been so much of that. It's been like, hey, did you hear about this that I heard is coming out?
Yep.
Or, oh, if you like Lux Road, you see we get these in. Because these are made by them, or these are similar, or blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's wrap this up real quick, because I forgot this is still going. But I'm inclined to say favorite of the night, but I almost feel bad comparing that, because comparing that to that Maker's Pick, those are pretty drastically different whiskeys.
They are, and this is like a special pick from Knob Creek, so like this isn't like what the standard is usually
right,
like.
And it's a pick that won't exist anymore. You can make this exact combination if you swap Mocha for Mondial with this.
And the other thing too being that a lot of Maker's barrels are very similar. Again, they're known for consistency with their product.
Mm-hmm. Like they vary, but it's not
very slightly.
Like it's like it's the nuances that change, like the Ohio Liquor ones. Other ones have made those picks where you don't get those exact notes, but.
And even the ever since they rebranded the cask strength, the quality has gone up.
And it tastes identical.
But most of the batches are like very, very close. There's like minimal difference between batches. And like every reviewer is saying that. Yeah. There's practically none anymore. And
we still need to crack up on my older ones.
Actually, believe it or not, the older ones aren't as good as the newer ones.
I know, but we still need to crack them open and compare.
This is true, we do.
We need to actually test this theory because I haven't tried an older one yet.
Yeah, I actually
was a 2019.
I killed an older bottle at the cigar bar I frequent. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't Maker's Mark cask. There's no way this is Maker's Mark cask, because it basically took the grassy and spice and like pepper notes of the standard and amplified those
that's before the big bourbon boom when they started really focusing on that stuff.
Yeah, when they rebranded in 2020, like that was when their like cask strength really took off.
And that's when their private selects took the fuck off too, because they were already.
That was when they started them.
Have they really only been that recent?
Yeah, it was around the time RC6 came out. Like that was when they started doing the private selects.
I didn't realize it was that recent.
Yeah, 2019 was kind of the beginning of the. It may have been late 2018, but I think 2019 marked the start of private selects.
Huh. Well, there you go.
So.
Makes my collection feel pretty good, given how short of a time we've been around. It shows you how much I've been around to get these.
Right, and that's the nice thing too. Maker's Mark, it's easy to get because they make so much batches of it, and nobody's hunting for Maker's Mark,
right.
even though it's the best weeded whiskey on the market.
Right. Anyway, Knob Creek, since we got back to Maker's Mark again.
Yes.